Hey guys, what's going on? Jeff here from Films at Home. I wanted to do a kind of another collection spotlight video today. So we're going to focus on the Criterion Collection. I've previously done a top 10 Criterion Collection Blu-ray video, which you can check out on my channel, but I haven't really covered everything I have, and I have a nice, solid Criterion Collection right now. Probably about 40 to 50 titles, so this might be a longer video, but it gives you a good idea of what's out there, what you might want to pick up. I'll let you know how each movie is, how the transfer was, special features, extra booklets and things that are included. There's a couple 50% off sales every year through the Criterion Collection website and through Barnes & Noble, so there's plenty of opportunities for people who, want to save a few bucks to be able to grab these titles at only $20 a piece. Typically they're 30 to 40 because of all the work that goes into them. So I usually save up for those 50% off sales and hit them then. That's where I got most of these movies. So this will give you a good idea, especially if you're just starting out in the collection and trying to build that. This will give you a great idea of what you might want to be looking to pick up for the next sale. So without further ado, play the intro and here we go. This is going to be a pretty long video, but I'm going to try to blow through these pretty quick and just give you a quick, that 15-second review of each one and let you know if it's worth a pickup. So starting here, we have Spine number 2 in the collection. This is Seven Samurai by Akira Kurosawa. If you haven't seen this movie, it's one of the best movies that's ever been made. So many influences in Hollywood have come from this movie. It has an awesome set, and I highly, highly recommend grabbing this one. Especially if you can still find it with the digibook. After that, we've got Spine number 11. This is The Seventh Seal, Ingmar Bergman. Again, another essential movie if you're in the collection. The transfer here is excellent, loaded with special features. You kind of have to have this one if you consider yourself a serious movie collector. After that, we have Diabolique. This is a French horror film. Criterion does a really good job in the collection of putting out some classic horror and foreign horror movies. And this is one of the better ones I've seen. If you're into kind of weird horror, this is one you're going to want to pick up for sure. Next up, Spine number 43. This is Lord of the Flies. Everyone read the book as a kid, right? You read this in middle school. This is the movie you might have watched in middle school too. I know I did. But it's a classic movie, new 4K transfer for this release, and tons of special features, really great stuff on here. Definitely recommend this one as well. Next up, Spine number 51 is Brazil, Terry Gilliam movie. Again, another one of those movies that if you're a serious film guy or girl, you have to have this. This is just, it's one of the coolest movies ever made. It's probably Terry Gilliam's best, and it's a no-brainer to grab the Criterion Collection version. They did such a great job with it. After that, we have Spine number 63. That is Carnival of Souls. This is an old horror movie from the 60s, black and white, but again, one of those that Criterion restored, made sure they kind of kept preserved for future generations, and it's a pretty fun movie. Again, I would recommend this one if you're into that kind of thing. If you're not really a horror person, then maybe you skip it. Then we have my first Wes Anderson one of the bunch. This is number 65, Rushmore. I believe this was Wes Anderson's first movie. Second movie, sophomore film. But if you like Wes Anderson, Criterion Collection has a deal with him that they make all of his movies. And they don't make them. They put them out on Blu-ray eventually after the studios release the rights. And so everything from Wes Anderson is going to end up in the collection eventually. And if you love his movies, you might as well grab all of them. There's no better way to get them than through the Criterion Collection. And then last out of my top 100 spines, I have number 91, The Blob, classic 50s sci-fi horror. Again, if you're into that sort of thing, this is kind of an essential viewing, right in the heyday of that 50s sci-fi Godzilla and The Blob and, everything like that really kind of kicked off the sci-fi genre. So definitely recommend it. Completely in color here, completely restored. Really cool release and great artwork. All right, continuing right through here, we're on Spine number 116. This is The Hidden Fortress, another film by Kurosawa. Actually, George Lucas was heavily influenced when he made Star Wars by this movie, so you'll see some similarities there. This is one of his primary influences, and so I definitely recommend it. Anything by Kurosawa is great, but especially one with this much like cultural significance is really cool. After that, we have number 151. This is Traffic from Steven Soderbergh. Another pretty cool movie about drug trafficking, U.S.-Mexican border relations, that type of stuff. Kind of kicked off that genre a little bit. Now we've got movies like Sicario and Borderland, and all kinds of stuff that comes out every year based on the same, kind of storyline. But this was the original, I think. One of the best too. Definitely recommend grabbing this one. Collection did a great job with it. Continuing on the Wes Anderson trip, 157. This is the Royal Tenenbaums. Probably one of my top 2 or 3 favorite Wes Andersons. It's right up there with Grand Budapest Hotel, which I thought was great. It's probably second on my list behind that. And it's a really fun movie. Obviously, if you're going to buy Wes Anderson movies and you collect Wes Anderson, no better way to go than to buy the Criterion Collection. After that, this is a newer one. This is Solaris. This just came out recently, I believe. People have been waiting for it for a long time. Russian sci-fi movie here. Very different, very long movie. If you're into kind of abstract stuff, you'll really like this, but it's not your typical sci-fi, so just be wary when buying this. Definitely do some research into the movie first before you blind buy. Then we have number 200. Spine number 200 is The Honeymoon Killers from the 60s. Just about kind of these two killers of, they're in love, they fall in love, Bonnie and Clyde type story. Give or take on this one, it's not one of the better movies in the collection, but it is pretty cool if you're into that genre, which I am, kind of the murder mystery type genre. So for 20 bucks though, you can't really go wrong. Got some cool artwork. Can't complain. Another director who is really big in the collection is Richard Linklater, and this was his debut film, Slacker, number 247. Comes in a cool digipack. Got some really nice extras in here. Really, really great release, especially if you're into Linklater stuff. You're going to want to check this out. And again, no better way to collect these than through the collection from Criterion. Then we have spine number 248. This is a Videodrome, David Cronenberg movie. Really pretty screwed up movie. Definitely R-rated, bordering on X-rated. Some very mature themes and stuff in this. It's kind of a messes with your mind type of movie, but I really like that stuff. It blends the line between horror and sci-fi, as Cronenberg often does, but it's a really cool case. The artwork's great. As you can see here, it even looks like an old VHS tape or something, so definitely recommend grabbing that one. And then we have spine number 249, which is The Battle of Algiers. This is a really great movie. If you haven't seen it and you're into kind of history and war, and it's just an excellent portrayal of the battle, and it's a great piece of film history. It is in French with some Arabic and English subtitles, so you got to be down for subtitles. But if you're collecting Criterion Collection movies, that's probably something you're okay with. There's a lot of foreign stuff in the collection. So again, another really cool digipack with a booklet, some great special features. Definitely recommend it. Jumping right back in here, another Wes Anderson movie, The Life Aquatic, with Steve Zissou. This is spine number 300. If you like Wes Anderson, it's a no-brainer. Get this version. Next up, Hari-Kari, which is spine number 302. Kind of cool Japanese movie, not for everyone. Do some research on this before you blind buy it. I enjoyed it, but I'm also into kind of foreign films. So definitely do your research. This isn't going to be for everybody. Next up, again, from Richard Linklater, spine number 336. This is Dazed and Confused. This is one of my favorite sets in the collection. Has all kinds of really great extras. There's a poster in here. There's a booklet that talks about each of the characters. The artwork is one of my favorites in the entire Criterion Collection. And this movie just kickstarted so many people's careers. And, there's so many big names in it that you don't even realize the impact that the movie had. But it's a no-brainer. Spine number 476 here. I have a problem with this one. and this is one of Criterion Collection's early releases on Blu-ray. As you can see, this is how it came, standard. This is how it came if you bought it. It did have a slipcover, which I don't have, but it came in a blue Blu-ray case. Like, they didn't know what they wanted to do at the beginning, which I totally get. You know, you don't know how you want to start a new format, but it pains me to see this on the shelf next to all these. When this is blue and these are all white, it's just, it drives you nuts as a collector. But, I mean, it's a great movie. I love David Fincher, so I had to have it, and this is the best version you can get. But they almost need to put out an updated version or, like, something. This kills me on the shelf. Next up is spine number 483, Roman Polanski's Repulsion. Another kind of thriller, semi-horror movie. If you're not into that sort of thing, skip it. This is in black and white, old movie from the 60s, but has a really great cast. You know, it got a lot of hype online from people in the Criterion Collection communities when this came out, so that's why I grabbed it. I heard a lot of good things, and it was okay. I'd be careful before you blind buy it. After that, we've got spine number 504. This is Hunger by Steve Mcqueen. Steve McQueen, I believe, is the director who did 12 Years a Slave. This is one of his first early movies. It's got Michael Fassbender in it. Basically, he's on a hunger strike because he's a member of the IRA, I believe, and he was put in jail, and it's kind of this Northern Ireland, the struggle between Northern Ireland and Ireland, and that whole thing gets covered here. A very political movie, slow, but a great performance by Michael Fassbender. After that, we've got 538, Stanley Kubrick's Paths of Glory with Kirk Douglas. A pretty important film in history. Really powerful movie about World War I. Kirk Douglas is great in it. If you like history, you like war movies, this is one of the best. Then we have spine number, kind of hard to read this one because of the artwork, but it's 540, I believe, and it is the Darjeeling Limited, another Wes Anderson movie. Not one of my favorites, kind of a funky one. I mean, Wes Anderson's funky, but this is funky even for him. But again, I like Wes Anderson. The artwork on these is always very cool, so I always pick them up when Criterion puts them out. And then we got spine number 543, which is Charlie Chaplin's Modern Times. You're going to see a lot more Chaplin as we go through here. I'm a big fan, and the Criterion Collection has done the best job of any studio putting together Chaplin's remastered works out on Blu-ray. And this is just, it's a great example of the kind of work they can do to preserve film. I love the movie. I love Charlie Chaplin stuff, as you'll see soon. And I highly recommend grabbing all of his movies, but especially this one. So another director here who's slowly starting to get some traction with Criterion Collection is Guillermo De Toro. This was his debut feature, Kronos. It has Ron Perlman in it, who seems to be in all of his movies. Kind of a tale of immortality, very kind of mystical type thing, but really good. If you like Del Toro stuff, you're going to really like this one. Then we have spine number 552. Sorry, this was 551. This is 552, Broadcast News. Classic movie, won a bunch of awards. You know, what else is there to be said? It's essential viewing, and I definitely recommend it. It's actually a lot of fun for kind of an older movie. It has some good humor. Spine number 562 is Blowout. This is John Travolta and Nancy Allen. It's a Brian De Palma film. If you like his stuff, no-brainer. This is the best release out there. If you haven't watched anything by him, I recommend trying some of his other stuff before you get into this. But if you do like his work, definitely grab Blowout. Now, spine number 565, back to Chaplin. This is The Great Dictator. This is probably my favorite Charlie Chaplin movie. It's very interesting in film history. I'm going to take a second here and talk about this one. Came out in 1940, so World War II, just in its beginning stages. And the whole movie is kind of this satire. Charlie Chaplin plays this crazy dictator. He's got the Hitler mustache. You know, he's just insane. He's making fun of Hitler basically the whole movie. Kind of think of like The Interview that James Franco did against Kim Jong-un. Well, if Kim Jong-un turns into a complete maniac who goes on, you know, right now he is a maniac, but if he turns into a huge like killer who starts World War III, we're going to look at The Interview and go, wow, that was kind of poignant. And The Great Dictator is the same way. I mean, this is 1940. This is before the U.S. is even in the war. It's before anybody really knew how terrible Hitler was. And Chaplin was out there really kind of leading the forefront on, hey, this is a bad guy, and I'm going to show that in the only way I can, through film. And it's a really, really great movie. There's a great speech at the end as well, and it's one of my favorites the collection's ever put out, and it's probably a top 10 movie for me of all time. So grab this one when you get the chance. Next up, spine number 586 is The Island of Lost Souls. 1932 this movie came out. 1932, based on the H.G. Wells novel. It's only 70 minutes long, but this is the kind of history that I want to collect. This is the kind of thing that as a collector, I want to make sure I have. So in 20 years, if somebody's saying, man, I wish I had an HD version of Island of Lost Souls, and people are throwing out their Blu-rays or trading them in and they're just going to waste, I've got them on my shelf. I can say, hey, I've got the best quality version of Island of Lost Souls. Come check it out. It's one of those that if you're kind of like a film nut historian like me, and that's part of why you collect, you got to have this one. Speaking of great film history, spine number 591, 12 Angry Men, top 10 movie of all time. Excellent movie. Takes place in one room, 12 men and a jury, but it's perfect. I don't know. It's like the perfect movie. It's so well done. And obviously, if you're going to buy one of the best movies of all time, find it on Criterion Collection. They're one of the best studios ever. So no-brain buy there. No-brainer buy, not a no-brain buy. That's what I do. 594 is The Original Godzilla. So this is the old 50s version. This also includes the American version that came out a year later or two. It's the Americanized version, they call it. So there's a couple different versions on here. Lots of great history with this. It's one of the first great monster movies. It's King Kong, it's Godzilla. And this has a really cool case. I can't pull it out right now. It takes kind of a second, and I don't have the hands. But if you pull this out, it's like a pop-up book. Godzilla pops up out of the middle of the spine. Very cool release. And it's got a great packaging, great artwork. Again, another no-brainer. For spine number 611, Being John Malkovich by Spike Jonze. Another classic movie, kind of a mess with your mind type, but Criterion Collection did a great job releasing this. Has all tons of special features. If you want to go behind the scenes and want to go behind the scenes and kind of look into some of this stuff, the thinking that went behind a movie like this, which is just so strange. There's some great stuff, great commentary, and behind the scenes features. So that is definitely worth a purchase. And then we have spine number 615, another Chaplin movie, The Gold Rush. One of his classics, really funny, like even now, 100 years later, or whatever it was. I mean, this came out in 1940. Okay, so not 100 years later, but a long time ago. And it's just a really great movie. If you like Chaplin, no-brainer. Next up here, we're in 627 for spine numbers. This is The Game, David Fincher movie, Sean Penn, Michael Douglas. Great twist at the end. One of those really mess with your mind type movies again, but it's kind of one of Fincher's, it's overlooked in his, he's got The Social Network, Zodiac, he's got Gone Girl, he's got, Fight Club. He's got so much great stuff in his filmography. This one kind of gets forgotten, but it's so good. The first time I watched this, I was blown away, and it's what's made David Fincher my favorite director. He's right up there with guys like Denis Villeneuve and guys like that are just, they can't miss. Everything they make is gold, and this is gold, and nobody really talks about it, but go find this. The Game, really good movie. Number 630, Rosemary's Baby. What can I say about this that hasn't already been said? All-time classic horror movie. Criterion did a great job with the release, tons of commentary. It's a must-have if you're a horror fan. This is the only way to own it. You got to buy the Criterion Collection. Number 638. This is actually Christopher Nolan's debut film. So Christopher Nolan, as you know, or maybe you don't, made the Dark Knight trilogy, Dunkirk, Interstellar, Inception. Another one of those guys who literally can't miss. Everything he makes is gold. And this is his first movie, which is very different from stuff he's made since. It's all in black and white. It's in a 1.33 aspect ratio. So that means if you have a widescreen TV, there's going to be black bars on the left and the right. It's kind of like an old school VHS. It's almost like a student film, but it's very cool. Shot in 16 millimeter, and I really liked this. I saw this on Netflix, I believe, a long time ago, and then I saw it was in the Criterion Collection, so I had to have it. Spine number 647, it's a digibook packaging. On the Waterfront, Marlon Brando. Again, what else can you say? One of the best acting performances of all time. An all-time great movie. Criterion Collection loaded this. It's a 2-disc edition, so there's 2 discs full of special features. And if you really love the movie, you like Marlon Brando, you like old-time movies, you don't even need to research this. Give this one a blind buy if you haven't saw it and go check it out. Number 649, this is Ministry of Fear. Now, this is an interesting movie in that World War II era. It came out in 1944, and it kind of plays on, the fear of Europeans working in Hollywood during the time of the war, and it's kind of got that 1984 feel to it almost, where it's kind of like a futuristic society. This is a thriller. It's pretty good. And I can't remember the last time I watched it, but I remember liking it. So I'd have to say, if you're into that time era for film, this is definitely going to be worth your time. Do some research on it if you don't know much about it before you blind buy. So number 654, one of those all-time classic cult films, Repo Man. Great packaging here. This is the original with Emilio Estevez. Not the remake, which was garbage. Actually, I don't even know if the remake was connected, but it's not as good as this. Really cool cult film. If you're into that punk kind of rock scene in the 80s and that kind of culture, this will be really cool, but it's an important piece of film history. It's one of the better kind of cult movies, as they call them out there. Next up is Spine 677. This is The Uninvited. This is also from 1944, black and white horror movie, but it's just kind of a typical ghost story. But if you're into horror and you're into classic film, you have to have this. It's one of those all-time greats. Next up here, Spine number 666, how appropriate. It's The Devil's Backbone, another Guillermo De Toro movie. It does come in a 3-pack set with Kronos, Devil's Backbone, and Pan's Labyrinth, which you'll see later. But if you like horror and you like Del Toro, have to have this one, of course. Spine 680, City Lights, Charlie Chaplin, classic movie. Great piece of film history. If you like Chaplin, again, I've gone over him a lot. That's going to be one you want to grab. 691 is Thief. This is now out of print, I believe, in the combo pack. So this is a Blu-ray and a DVD. I think you can still get the Blu-ray, but I heard rumors about this going out of print. It's a Michael Mann movie, so he made Heat. If you like that type of stuff, you're going to love this. James Caan is great in it. Really fun movie. Spine number 700, Fantastic Mr. Fox. This was Wes Anderson's animated movie. Has a great cast. I know George Clooney's in it. Great voice actors in this movie. And again, a really cool set. You're going to get the digipack. All kinds of special features loaded in there. So if you like Wes Anderson, no better place to come than Criterion Collection. Spine number 711 in the collection is A Hard Day's Night. It's the Beatles movie. Came out in the 60s right after they kind of hit it big. They started working on this film project, and they basically play like slapstick versions of themselves. It's almost like This Is Spinal Tap or some sort of parody, except it's really the band members playing themselves. It's actually a pretty cool movie. If you're into music history, this is going to be a really important one to watch. And if you love the Beatles, no-brainer. Like, you need to check this out. If you haven't heard of this, do some research online, watch a couple trailers. But Criterion did a huge box set. There's a huge book in here all about the Beatles. Really, really great set. And it's really one of the better editions that they've put out in the Criterion Collection, especially for music fans. It's something a little different. Spine number 712 is Scanners by David Cronenberg. Another very strange sci-fi horror movie, but if you like Videodrome and you like that kind of stuff, they did a really nice job with the artwork here. New restoration, really cool stuff, and tons of special features as always. So this is the definitive version of that. Spine number 745 is Don't Look Now. This has Julie Christie, Donald Sutherland. kind of a thriller, kind of a really interesting movie. It's pretty terrifying at some points, and you wouldn't think so, but it's a pretty scary movie. Has some really creepy moments, but I really liked it. So if you like kind of creepy murder thrillers, this is for you. And then we have Spine number 753, the first documentary that I've showed you guys, The Thin Blue Line from Errol Morris. This is on Netflix too, so if you're questioning buying it, check it out. But it's kind of a documentary about, police work and, this drifter who was charged with killing a police officer. Did he really do it? Did he not? Kind of like is the predecessor to Making a Murderer or the Serial podcast or all that true crime stuff that's been going really huge lately. This is basically the start of all that. You know what I mean? This was the first movie that really covered some stuff like that, first documentary. But it's really good. Really, really good movie. Continuing right down the road here, 764, another Terry Gilliam movie. Robin Williams, Jeff Bridges star, The Fisher King. This gets overlooked when people talk about Robin Williams' career, but it's one of his best performances, and it's a really great movie. So if you like Robin Williams, go find this one. Next up here is Spine number 770. Yeah, 770. Hard to read some of these, sorry. Another Brian De Palma movie, Dressed to Kill. Another kind of thriller like he likes to make. There's always someone dying. There's always a mystery. It's a lot of fun, but if you like De Palma's stuff, it's a great release. And sorry for some coughing. I got a cold, so I'm working with that, but trying to work my way through it here for you guys. Spine number 777 is The Brood, another David Cronenberg movie. You see a bloody baby on the cover. It's always creepy. This one's pretty screwed up. Cronenberg makes some weird stuff. This is some of the weirdest, so be prepared. If you like that kind of thing, you'll get a kick out of this, but don't blind buy it. Make sure you do some research first. 779 is Mulholland Drive. So this is David Lynch, and this just recently came out, actually. This is, I say recently, within the last couple of years. The collection's so old, but anything in the last couple of years is pretty recent. And this messes with your mind completely. What a movie, but a new 4K transfer from Criterion, loaded with special features if you want to dive into the mindset behind the director and how the movie was made. So you really can't beat this one. If you have Mulholland Drive already on Blu-ray, I almost would, double dip for that one. Spine number 787, Jellyfish Eyes. People are going to laugh. I found this at like a Newbury Comics for like $5, and I said, whoa, Criterion Collection Blu-ray for $5. I have to have it. I wish I had my $5 back. This is a weird movie, Japanese cinema, which I'm usually okay with, but just such a strange movie, and it's just not very good. Skip this one. This is probably the one I regret the most out of all the movies in my Criterion collection. Then we have 790 and 791. This is the Complete Lady Snowblood collection. Great Japanese cinema. This is what Quentin Tarantino kind of based the Kill Bill movies on. So there's Lady Snowblood and then Lady Snowblood, Love Song of Vengeance. So again, it's a two-parter, just like Kill Bill, Volume 1, Volume 2. And a lot of what Tarantino did with the Kill Bill movies was inspired by this. And they talk about that a little bit, actually, in the special features. So if you liked Kill Bill and you like that kind of martial art type movie, grab this one. It's a great collection. Then we have number 800 here is The Graduate, Dustin Hoffman movie, all-time classic. Mrs. Robinson, what can you say about The Graduate? I mean, if you're a film lover, hopefully you've seen this. If you haven't, run out and grab the Criterion Collection. It's one of the most highly regarded movies of all time, and the special features are insane. They have so many features on the back. There's a list as long as the whole back cover, so definitely check this one out. Next up here, we got spine number 803. It's the Manchurian Candidate. This is not the Denzel version. This is the original from the 60s when everyone was worried about the Cubans or the Russians sending in spies. Frank Sinatra stars in this, not spies. He stars in this movie. I watched this for a couple history classes in college and politics classes, and it's a really great movie. I was actually surprised. I was like, it's a black and white. This is back before I really started watching films, and this really turned me on to this era, and you know, the great filmmaking that went on in Criterion Collection. Again, an amazing job. Right along those lines, spine number 821 is Dr. Strangelove from Stanley Kubrick. So again, another one of those like what if war movies that everyone was making, end of the world type stuff, the Cold War era of film. This is a brand new 4K restoration. I had the Steelbook that Best Buy put out a few years back. Watched that, then watched this. This is so much better. It's insane. The restoration is amazing. And, you know, it feels like a completely new film. They did such a great job. This is the version you have to own. And the special features are insane. Again, on the back, just this list of special features. It's a mile long. Now we got spine number 826. This is The New World, Terrence Malick movie. All about kind of the John Smith, Pocahontas story. The explorers get here from England. They meet up with the Native Americans. This is a long movie. This is a 3-hour job, but it's really well done. And if you're into history and you want to learn more about kind of this time period, which is largely unexplored in film, this is a great way to jump into it. It stars Christian Bale, Colin Farrell, some really great names, great music. And the new restoration here, again, another 4K restoration they did, and it's incredibly well done. Comparing this to the previous Blu-ray release, it's a no-brainer that you need this one. We got spine number 834. This is Blood Simple. This is a Coen Brothers movie, so same guys who did Big Lebowski, No Country for Old Men, Fargo. This was one of their first. This is from the 80s, Blood Simple. Again, kind of stays along the lines of like murder mystery like Fargo did. It's a similar type movie, but some really great performances in here. And if you like the Coen Brothers, this is kind of one of their lesser known movies, but definitely one worth grabbing. We got spine number 843 next. This was long anticipated in the Criterion Collection. Punch Drunk Love with Adam Sandler. Paul Thomas Anderson directed this. Probably Adam Sandler's best work ever as an actor, as a dramatic actor for sure. And really, I mean, it's been so long awaited on Blu-ray. This didn't have a Blu-ray release, and Criterion finally got it. So I definitely recommend grabbing it. And last but not least here, as I mentioned, this is the last of the trilogy from Guillermo Del Toro that Criterion put out. Pan's Labyrinth, spine number 938. My most recent pickup, actually, from the Criterion Collection, so it's been a while since I grabbed any movies. I need to go nuts on the next sale. But a great new restoration, all kinds of commentary and special features, approved by Del Toro, and just a great movie. Really one of the better movies that's come out in the last probably 15 years, especially for foreign stuff. So now we're going to dive into the couple of box sets I have. I only have 2 right now from the Criterion Collection. First up is the Zaitochi box set. Classic Japanese cinema. This is spine number 679. All 25 Zaitochi films are in here. This costs like $100 even on the 50% off sale. But if you can grab it and you can afford it, it's such a nice set. Has a huge booklet in here. I mean, 25 movies when you really break it down. That means you're paying $4 a movie for these HD transfers of classic Japanese cinema. So it's kind of a no-brainer in that aspect. And then I've got spine number 856, which includes 857, 858, and 859, the Before trilogy from Richard Linklater. This was kind of a recent, this is probably his most recent one, I believe, to come into the collection, but it's got Before Sunset, Before Sunrise, and Before Midnight. All 3 movies are great. Ethan Hawke's great. I mean, they're romantic kind of dramas, so different than what I'm usually into, but the box set was too hard to pass up. They did a really nice job with it, and I think I managed to get it for like $30, so at that point, why not? All right, guys, that's it. That's all I've got for Criterion Collections. If you stuck around this long, thank you, because this was a long video, but a couple people had asked me to go over my whole collection and give my thoughts on each movie, so I wanted to do that for you. If you have any other ideas for videos, just like I said, somebody commented this, and I said, hey, that'd be a cool video, so let me know in the comments. Let me know what you think I should get from the collection that I don't already have. If you're a big Criterion Collection person, then I want to know what your thoughts are. Tell me what you have, because I'm always looking for new stuff for the sale. Definitely remember to like this video. Always helps us get to the top of YouTube. Help me subscribe here. I need to get 1,000 subscribers again, hopefully in the next month or so. That'd be really cool. We're at almost 700 now, so keep sharing with your friends. You guys are awesome. You've given me so much support in the first 3 months I've been doing this, that it's incredible, and I'm really excited to keep doing it. So thanks for that. Thanks for all the support. Find me on Instagram. You can find me at films_at_home. I'll put a link in the description as well, so you can click right through and follow me. Send me a message. Send me a direct message. Say what's up. Comment on one of my posts. Say, hey, I've been watching your YouTube videos. I get back to everybody in the messages. You ever have questions about movies, what you should buy, home theater equipment, whatever you want to talk about, I'm open to talk, so let me know. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Till next time, Jeff here from Films at Home, signing off. Have a good day.